Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we have a mission to wake the world up to what's possible, one brave word at a time. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of a new book that we have coming out. This one is called The Energy Healer's Oracle: Tools for Total Transformation. And before I introduce the authors to you today, just a huge thank you goes out to Angela Aurora Medway Smith. Angela is our lead author for this project. And I'm so grateful to you, Angela, for your vision and your mission with this book. You have brought together some of the world's master teachers and healers. We're going to hear from some of them today. And I just am very honored to be guiding this project, and I hope you guys all go check out what Angela is up to in the world with this book and everything else. But today, let's talk to a few of the authors. Fiona Radman is an intuitive guide and color therapist. We can see those bottles on your back shelf. I love those so much, like a rainbow every time I look at you. Julie Williams is the founder of the Center for Consciousness Medicine, where they have a mission to inspire and support clients to reach their full potential and purpose in life. Neshla Avi is an intuitive psychic who helps people move forward in life. And R. Scott Holmes is an integrated energy healer. You guys, there's always like mega power in these Zoom rooms when I have my energy healers together. So watch out, because last week it blew up. They blew up my internet. I don't know what happened, but we're back here today. Fiona, tell us about your amazing chapter.
Okay, thank you very much, Laura. That was a super introduction. So yes, I'm in chapter 19, color therapy, and the subtitle to that is Dynamic Energy to Boost Your Well-Being. So my work is, I'm an intuitive coach, I'm an intuitive guide. I teach intuition and I teach color up to practitioner level.
Oh my gosh, you have to tell us more. So I'm just sitting here thinking, whoa, I can be certified in color therapy? Tell me what the biggest benefit of this modality is.
Well, color, as you can see, I have a small selection of this system behind me, and I use this modality in all my sessions, okay, whether I'm working with people one-to-one in intuition or in coaching. And color is a vibrational tool. Okay, it's like a lot of the healing modalities. And the people who come to me are the ones who just say, this looks so great, I'd really like to know some more. And what I really love about this particular system is that I will invite the client to intuitively choose the colors in answer to their question, or choose the colors. And this system is called Color Mirrors. And I tell you something quite extraordinary. Without fail, every time the client chooses the colors and the bottles that are just right for them. It's really something special. Color is a vibrational tool, and it really helps me look at what's going on with people and help guide them onto the next level, either in their spiritual development, which is part of what the practitioner program is. So they can move on in their spiritual development, or in color practitioner, I can actually train them to use color as a business themselves.
Do your colors behind you and or just how you use them, how does it line up with chakra colors?
Okay, so I'm really glad you asked that, because I have some of the chakra colors here. These are most of them. So base, sacral, solar plexus, heart, throat, and so forth. And we have two aspects to the chakras. We have the traditional colors, and then we have the higher frequency vibration of color, which is where we're moving into, which is physically, we are being energetically upgraded now. And this is reflected obviously in our human age, but it's reflected through color. So red as a base is a slow vibration. if you remember from physics lessons. I don't know if you can go back that far to school. And then you end up with finally the high frequency of the crown chakra, very fast vibration, very high frequency. Okay, you're going through the whole range.
Thank you for explaining that a little bit. Gosh, who doesn't love color in some fashion or other? You're just making me think of, as I've gone through my life, um, we always want to know somebody's favorite color. What's your favorite color? It was like a kid thing, but it's kind of followed me throughout my adulthood. It's always been the deep blues and turquoises and purples. And then later in my life, I was just like, I love all the colors. I want all the colors. And then the latest joke is my favorite color is glitter sparkle. That's like my favorite color. Fiona, thank you so much for being here. We're going to talk to Fiona some more in just a minute, you guys. Julie, how about you? Tell us about your chapter.
Hey, Laura and everybody. Thanks for having me on. My chapter is number 15, Family Constellations to Heal Dysfunction and Liberate Your Life. So family constellations is an ancestral healing modality that, in my experience, is essential for anybody on the personal growth path, because if we have ancestors, we have ancestral entanglements that need to be cleared before all of these other beautiful tools that we do can be fully integrated. So what it does is it brings forward really deep and lasting change by releasing these unconscious ancestral entanglements that affect our health and well-being. And I absolutely love facilitating and teaching this work, which I've been doing for nearly 20 years. And in that time, I've developed a unique style called Movements of the Family Soul. And there's 6 main movements done in a particular order, brings forward a beautiful soul transformation. So in this chapter, I outline those movements and give an exercise and self-help to be able to explore your ancestral entanglements and set down the burden that you carry for others, because it doesn't serve us in life the way that we hope it will.
Tell me more about why this work has to be first in order for the others to do their magic.
It's interesting. It's not necessarily first, but it has to be done somewhere along the line. And because the way that I see it, we come from divine, God, universal source, whatever your philosophy of life is, right? And we pass through this ancestral layer, this collective energy called the family soul. Then we pop into life and our timeline starts, where our belief structures are laid down, our chakras develop, and our identity gets solidified. So it's that foundational level from where we come from that our entire belief, identity, and existence is based upon. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the first thing, because sometimes that's like ripping the tablecloth off right. It's like, sometimes it's really good to do a lot of, other work. And then as you get down to these patterns that are keep repeating or are overwhelming, they'll become much clearer and easier to work from the family constellation perspective.
I appreciate the table visual. That worked for me. Okay, so whenever I think of this topic and talk to people who do work like this, I think of my family who are still alive, and I think a lot about my family who are passed already. And this work, I'm assuming you'll tell me it doesn't matter. It's great for either group of people. Is it the people I'm dealing with? Is it the energy? No matter who I'm talking about. Tell me a little bit more about that piece.
Yeah, it's really the energy. So much like we inherit our genetics from our ancestors, we also come down through the line of that with emotional states and states of suffering that we will take on to belong to our family. It's an illusion. This is a subconscious pattern that we have to belong to our family by living the suffering. In the family of thieves, the child that does not steal does not belong. And we feel very guilty, and then our survival is threatened. So we get really locked into taking on the suffering and repeating the suffering in different ways. So it's a spirit soul level of energy that works. Doesn't matter whether it's people who are, dead long ago or on the earth, but we're all, it's usually up to about 8 generations back. That's when the strength of the ancestors come through, which we can really work to heal, right? And then all those other generations, including your parents and grandparents and you and your siblings, you're all caught up. You're like grains of sand on the beach, right? And the wave of the ancestral patterns come through and you all get washed in that, So I love it because it allows a bigger, compassionate, it's not personal. Y'all living are caught up in all, the ancestral patterns, trying to make the lives better for people who lived hundreds of years ago, which isn't going to work.
It's a fascinating topic. Thank you for being here to talk about it. I think it was the child who didn't achieve. So I just filled in the blank. It wasn't I filled in the blank from steal to achieve, right? And so if we weren't achieving, then we weren't doing something right. So it's very, very interesting to think of the patterns that you fall into and what you're doing with your life and why, and what it feels like inside of you, literally inside of your body, to not do that, and why you think you feel it, right? Oh my gosh, this is a topic we could probably talk about all day. In fact, all of you, I feel that way about. Neshla, how about you? Tell us about your chapter.
Okay, so I'm chapter 12, which is about Rahani celestial healing, and I put let go and open up your heart again. Because the idea with Rahani healing, it works on that beautiful pink ray of unconditional love. And it's about opening up our heart centers so that we can live our lives in our own truth with love and compassion for ourselves and other people. And when we do the work, we imagine the heart center as a beautiful pink rosebud, and we do the healing until we see it opening up into a beautiful pink rose. And I also do teaching to practitioners and teachers to just spread the love. It's about spreading and caring and sharing with each other, and releasing all the stuff we don't need to hold on to, that we've been holding on to for a long time, all the negative aspects like anger, bitterness, frustration, guilt, regret, all of those things that we hold on to is not helping us with our lives, because it's not helping us move forward. So the idea is to release and clear it so we can start living life once more.
So I think I tried to ask you this the first time we got together, and I really want to hear how you talk about it today. But one of my ahas in talking to several of you is like, oh, there's more than one kind of Reiki. And, I was Reiki trained level 1, level 2, like, I don't even know what kind of Reiki I was trained in. And I start to hear about all these different kinds. Tell me why it's important for people to understand that there are different kinds of Reiki.
Okay, well, Rahani is not actually Reiki itself. It's a different type of healing, but
Okay.
I have done Reiki, so I can just explain to you that, it's like anything. As the planet changes its vibration, as people change their vibration, they want a different type of healing. So it's like evolved and expanded, like all the healing modalities. Rahani, we couldn't have used many years ago because we weren't ready to hold that vibration of energy, which we can now. And it's the same with the Reiki. So I've heard of lots of different, when I've taught people, rainbow Reiki and violet flame Reiki, you name it, I've heard of it. But it's just I always say with people with healing modalities, we're all here to help in whatever way. It's whatever resonates with you and what feels right. So if you're going either for healing or you want to learn a type of healing, what calls to you? It's like, for example, if people want to do dragon Reiki, then if they're attracted to the dragon energy, that's perfect for them. Whereas other people might want to do something completely different. So I think with any form of healing, listen to it, feel it. Does it call to you? Is it the right thing for you? And with Rahani, what I like about it, it's not written in stone. It's an intuitive form of healing. So when you've learned it, it does help open up people's intuition so that you're just guided where you're meant to go around the body and how you can heal. And I think that's what healing is more about now. When I've learned many healing modalities in before this, and I don't like being regimented. I don't like 5 minutes here or 10 minutes here, or you've got to do this and you've got to do that. This is, you feel your way around it, and that's what I love about Rahani.
Thank you for that explanation. It's also like what Fiona was saying about the colors. There's these colors, but then there's the elevated version of the colors, and taking it all to the next level is what all of you are about in this book. Really, it's exciting. And I keep hearing through all of our interviews, we as a collective are moving to the next level. And that feels exciting, right? Scott, how about you? Tell us about your amazing chapter.
I'm chapter 4, polarity to rise, ground, clear, heal, and fly. I was introduced, I'm a Reiki master, and I think Reiki is the ultimate gateway modality to a lot of what we do.
I think you're the one I was asking this to last week. Okay, but between you and Neshla, we're going to have this down.
Mine is Usei Reiki. It's just where it was handed down and the modality and how you kind of move the energy. From Reiki, I moved to polarity therapy, and then on to Rise, RYSE. And my chapter is about a particular client of mine and walking her through a session. It's using acupressure as well as clearing energetic meridians, as well as enhancing chakras all the way through. And the funny thing is, no matter which modality, and I'm reading the advanced reader copy, I just got it, and I'm reading all these modalities, and it's so exciting because there are things that I've never. But each modality takes different parts and different aspects. I mean, there's only so many chakras. There's only so many ways you can kind of look at things with ancestral DNA, all the other, how we look at things. And it's the same aspects. And we just look at it a little bit differently. Whatever kind of connects with you is what allows you to heal. And with these modalities, polarity and rise, it's really, for me, it was an expression, the next leveling up. Fiona mentioned it, I mean, we do that in order to be healers, we have to rise constantly. We have to change constantly. There isn't anybody I know that knows a modality and just that's it, what they do for 50 years and, that's it, because it's a constant learning. You, Laura, once said to me, oh, when you get into this, it's never a straight line. It's always over here, over here, over here, over here. It's a constant movement. It's what catches you. It's where what level you're at, and what really connects with you at that moment, at that level. And then 3 months later, it's something else. And it's that constant curiosity and that intuition that each of these people have, all of them. Because you learn a practice and it's all right, step 1, step 2, step 3, and that's how you learn anything, right? Mathematics, science, any modality, anything you do, you learn it, and then it becomes intuitive. Why? Because no person, no human being is exactly the same. And so for each client we use and we touch and we connect with, we have to change and understand it. And what I found is why I've learned 4 or 5 modalities is because sometimes you look at it from here and you can't quite get it and can't quite get it and can't quite understand it. But then you take another modality or another way of looking at something, and all of a sudden it becomes very clear, or it becomes clear to the client, and it connects better with them in that respect. When people come to me, I call it Reiki. They call it Reiki because they understand what Reiki is, right? All the other stuff, And I think that's why is with Neshla, it's Reiki plus. It's that kind of blending of the intuition part of it, of what they bring into it, of what they see and how they see the perspective of it. So in bringing all these modalities into one book, it's international, which is absolutely amazing to me that there's people from all over. There are people in this panel, France, London, Ireland, US. In reading the stories, I want to learn everything that they're doing. I want to take a course from every one of these authors. I honestly do. I want to find out what they do. I want to understand what they do. I want to participate in it. I want to really connect with them. And that's the wonderful part of this that you brought together.
Thank you.
I brought a lot of
Scott.
things into it, but this is about talking about a session for polarity and rise that I do with a client, and expressing how it works, because there's kind of pulling the curtain back, right? Because if you've never experienced it. So what I try to do, and what my thought process was pulling the curtain back of what a session would be like.
So it's another one of
Sorry, I threw a lot at you.
No, good. It's and I love the way that you're describing us amazing group of healers, because healers who are masters have been doing this a minute or two, and they do have many, many modalities under their belts. And so, like, I hate to even label what I do as a healer anymore. It's my toolbox full of all of the pieces that I've taken from all of my teachings. And then to say you do one thing is kind of funny. It's like, well, I do what I need to do for the very unique individual in front of me, right? So I enjoyed that piece of what you were saying. And really, to all of you today, thank you so much. Thanks not just for saying yes to the project, but for stepping up with your amazing stories, so we can get to know you a little bit and how you got to doing what you're doing today. But then, you guys, this book is full of practical tools. And so I challenged everybody to give you a taste and let you experience these powerful modalities. And so, you all can teach this all day long. You work with your clients and students, but it's a very interesting thing to then be asked to put it in black and white in a book and make that work for people, right? And you guys did that so brilliantly. So thank you. And we need all of your voices and all of the tools for some of the reasons Scott was talking about, because one thing isn't going to work for everyone. In fact, one thing isn't going to work for the same person every single time. We need options. We need your voices. We need all of your tools. And so I'm in love with these collaborations for that reason, a lot of other reasons as well. Julie, I'm going to come to you first for this next one. What's the most important thing you want people to know about energy healing as a whole? Just talking to our listeners now, what do they need to know about this?
I think something really important that actually makes it more approachable and easy is that energy healing is more about being than doing, right? So we're used to do, but that meditative state, I call it the presence of healing. And this is what I teach in my courses to facilitators, this presence of healing where you access this fully aligned, balanced state and open yourself up to these healing vibrations. You're not even moving. You're just breathing and being there. And that's the being of it. And then you bring the doing in, and the power of that amplifies. So I like to say, 80% being, 20% doing as a start, because really it's probably 95% being, 5% doing,
That's really important. And I love that you brought that up. It can be easy. And we're here to wake people up to what's possible. I hear a lot about this, and I'll hear words like, oh, but it's hard. Oh, but it's difficult to do this and that. I'm like, well, what if it could be easy? Like, what else is possible here? Neshla, how about you? How would you answer this? What's the most important thing about energy healing that you'd like people to know?
I think it's important to be open, because a lot of people have not heard of energy healing, or they're not sure, especially when they try it the first time. And I think if you're really open, you'll be surprised at the results you can get, because when we heal, it's about putting ourselves back into balance, feeling calm. The world doesn't seem such a difficult place. And when we're releasing and clearing stuff, it just makes people feel better. And I think the first time I ever went for healing, when I first, because I've always done psychic work, and when I had my first experience of healing, I just thought I'll be open to try it. And I was amazed at how I felt afterwards. I felt lighter, I felt better. And that's when I started looking down the healing path of what's this all about, and starting, as Scott said, trying them all out and seeing what's best for me. So I think it's important we need to keep ourselves clear, because we pick up so much stuff. So I think that's the most important thing is keep working on yourself. As healers, we all work on ourselves all the time, because there's always layers and layers, a bit like that onion. it? There's always another layer. So yes, that's what I feel.
Yeah, for sure. That's a lifelong process of maintenance for us healers, I believe. But also just to all of you, just be open, clear your mind of the thoughts that come in, the negative thoughts mainly. Try to just remain curious. Curiosity is very powerful. And if you can come into a curious mind frame, oh, I wonder how this is going to go, right? And that's it. And then, like Julie said, then just be. And then you're halfway there, I think more than halfway there if you've got those two things going on. Scott, how about you? What's the thing that you want people to know about energy healing?
Energy healing is simply allowing. For all of us, when you're working with a client, the only thing that happens is what they allow. And it's that getting over the fear of the unknown, the fear that they've carried with them, and allowing the energy to pour in. We don't heal per se. We kind of coach people through what they need to do. We don't take their energy. We don't give the energy. What I find is that I'm just channeling the energy for them to allow them to see what they need to see, to be able to let go of what they need to let go of. But they need to allow themselves to want to change. They need to allow themselves to do it. After you get going with it, a daily practice is 5-10 minutes. And if they don't have 5-10 minutes to give to themselves, you have to question whether they truly want to change. So it's the repetition, the understanding, and being present. I know Julie brought that in about the presence, being present all the time. Nothing more important than being present with yourself and being quiet with yourself for just that short amount of time. It changes your entire day, and it's wonderful. And it does heal, and healing is not as hard as people make it look like.
The only thing that happens is what you allow. I like that. I wrote that down. And I think we get in our own way, don't we? There's resistance. And I think for any of you who are entering a process of healing, of hopping on the healing journey, listening to these topics, feeling curious about what is possible, there's going to be resistance that comes up in you in lots of different kinds of ways. So be curious about your own resistance and what you're putting in the way of the possibility of that energy flow and how you might feel, right? I think that awareness, and all of you are talking about awareness today, which is, these are golden nuggets for people if they really receive what that is, right? Next level awareness is what brings you to that moment. And knowing your own resistance was a big one for me. Fiona, how would you answer this one? What's the thing that you want people to know about energy healing?
Well, it's really interesting that our session was postponed for a week because I was at an exhibition over the weekend, and one particular woman who turned up at my stand was interested to know something about color that relates to the tool that I put into the book. So my tool, because it's a book and people aren't coming to actually choose from this beautiful system of light, it's just about standing in front of your wardrobe and intuitively feeling into which color is going to serve me today. Which vibration do I need today? And trusting people's intuition is something I teach. So everybody knows they've had an intuitive gut feeling or hunch or something, but they don't necessarily trust it. So there's sort of a bit of there's an awareness gap there. And just being able to close that gap can really seriously up-level your life. And intuition is feeling into energy, it's feeling into the vibration of life and how you feel and what's going on around you. So this lovely woman turned up at the stand and she said, yeah, I'm not quite sure what my question is, but it's something around my clothes and my wardrobe. So she sat with me, she chose from the system and we discussed it. And she, in her work, she wears blue. That's kind of just, part of the uniform, and she's really just starting to feel uncomfortable with wearing blue all the time. And blue represents a lot of different things, but it's also the color of authority and masculinity. And there's a lot of good things around blue, but my sense is that she was just sort of thinking, that's quite a heavy vibration for me. And when I'm at home, and she came in quite dark colors onto the stand. So we looked at the different colors, we discussed it and so forth. And we were discussing wearing different colors, and I was explaining to her about the vibrations colors. She chose bright colors. I'm just trying to think which one she chose. Yeah, I think this was one of the ones she chose, bright gold and orange. So we were discussing orange, and I said, all you have to do is buy an orange scarf. You don't have to go mad. You can just, spend a small amount of money and buy orange. And what I noticed towards the end of a session, when people have received a message, there's this little smile that creeps over the face, and they go, I got it. I got it. And at that point, it's usually towards the end of the session, they've got it, and I know they're going to do something. Okay, so as soon as somebody starts smiling, I think she's going to be more intuitive about energy. And it's sort of like, it's so exciting when that happens. So
that is, I love it. Well, you and I looked in our closet and picked the white today. Scott and Julie picked the blue, and Neshla, you've got pink, orange. You have all the, if you guys can actually see the video that you're watching and you're not just listening, we've got all kinds of colors. And last week, almost, I think 3 or 4 of us had purple on. So that's very interesting also. I love colors. Like I was saying earlier, I think that they can change your mood in an instant. The way that I use color is through flowers very often at home. And I love flowers in terms of like amping up the energy in my room. Love this conversation, you guys. Neshla, so energy healing is part of a holistic approach to wellness. And when it comes to this journey that we're on, why does holistic matter? What do you want people to know about that?
I think when we say holistic, it's natural. Healing is natural. We don't have to think about medication or where we've got so much available to us, not just the healing, but there's, herbs and wildlife, everything around us we should use rather than, and I think it's just a different way of looking at things. Whereas in the olden days, but before, a lot of people think, I've got a problem, I've got to go to the doctors. Even if say you've got anxiety or something, you're stressed about something, go to the doctors, take some medication and it heal it. But it doesn't, it just masks it. When we go with the healing route and the holistic approach to something, it's actually looking at the root cause. Why are you feeling like this? What is this? Why is this happening? And I think that helps, because once people understand why this behavior pattern is happening or what's going on, they heal quicker. It's better because then it doesn't rear up again, because they're more aware of their energy and they're more aware of the way it's where it's coming from. So I think holistic it's just, to me, it's a natural way of doing things. It's the right way of doing things. It's something we've had access for many, many lifetimes, but people are getting more and more into it because they're realizing actually they don't want to put bad stuff in their body, or they don't want to use chemicals. They want to do it in the best way for them.
Yeah, that's a great way to start this question off. Nature is full of powerful medicine, isn't it? Scott, how about you? Why holistic?
Why holistic? To piggyback off of what Neshla said, it's always been here. How did people do it? Yes, medicine and medications have been wonderful in that they've cured diseases that were uncurable before. But we become so reliant on it, and especially in Western medicine, that we take a pill for everything. I have a headache, take a pill. I have this, take a pill. Oh, I'm not really feeling great, take a pill. Instead of fully understanding, just come back from India, and truly in all aspects of that society, they view food as medicine. Here in the US, where I am, as long as you have bread, cheese, and beer, you're okay. Um, and it's a different philosophy. They're much healthier. They're much less. Um, they view everything that they put in their bodies. They view everything that they do um, as medicine for what they are. When it's cold, they eat things that allow heat to build up in their body. When they're warm, they eat things that it makes cold. Here we have a choice. We got pizza tonight. You want spaghetti? What do you want to do? We don't really look at life that way. And looking at holistically, it's just what the body needs, not what you want. I mean, we always like having that ice cream sundae, but um, it isn't necessarily what we need and what the body needs and what's best for us. And holistic approach is really just what's best for you. I've been able to take away headaches and small pains just by sitting for a minute, concentrating on it, allowing the energy to come in. It's that pain or that ache goes away. And that's just knowing your body. That's just taking the time to understand your body. Laura, you've always been very big on physical with everything that you've learned and through the martial arts and massage therapy and everything else. And you say that you've said it many times. You got to know your body. You got to understand it. You got to listen to it. And I think we all, as practitioners, that inner voice, you listen to it, and it gets muted. And when you take medications, a lot of times it mutes the body. Oh, I don't feel that pain anymore. That's good. Well, the body's still dealing with it. You just can't feel it. So it's that intuition within the healing process that you need to listen to.
Awesome, Scott. Thank you. Fiona, how would you answer this one? What do you want to add to this holistic conversation?
I hope I'm not just sort of repeating too much here, but yeah, it's very much about mindset. Which mindset do you follow? As you say, am I going to hold the power myself and take responsibility for my own well-being, or am I going to hand it over? Where is the power? Where is the power based? Yes, I mean, it's such a big thing, actually, and just working with people a lot, particularly with women. The issues that come up are solar plexus and throat. So much, digestive issues and throat around power and not being able to speak up. So particularly women, as I say, I've noticed just used to giving their power away to someone else, whether it's a doctor or a boss or anybody really, a partner. And then not being able to speak their truth into the world, even though they know that they're uncomfortable about something. So really, I find a lot of what I do personally is by helping people to recognize that they can take power back for themselves and to see themselves as a whole, mind, body, spirit, soul. And then, as we've all discussed, it's about intuitively choosing the tools, those ones that resonate with you, to succeed in doing that. But for me, part of the work that I do is just helping people recognize that they actually have power. And power is another energy. It's using your own I'm not sure I can explain it completely well, but it's about an understanding that you can take the power back in order to achieve what you want in terms of well-being in your life.
Well, I like how you answered that from if you're having difficulty speaking up, talk about the throat in craniosacral therapy and myofascial release therapy. That's the avenue of expression. There's a chakra there. There's a blue color that we think about. I've had a lot of acupuncture, and the acupuncturists will talk about organs and emotions and the links between. And I think these are the great holistic conversations, right? Like, oh, I didn't know, maybe that has something to do with this physical pain I've been having or whatever, right? And this is part of the thing that I want people to realize. I want them to understand these possibilities. What if you worked on that piece and your pain started to go away? Ooh, right? It's magical sometimes. Julie, I know it's hard to go last on this one. What would you add to this? What do you want to talk about in terms of holistic?
Well, holistic, is whole person healing. So I like to describe it in terms of the consciousness medicine work of which family constellations is a part of. That we as beings, we have a body matrix. We have a physical body, energy body, emotional body, ancestral body, and a spiritual body. And in order to really heal fully, you can't just work one of those bodies, right? If you go get a massage and your physical pain goes away, but there's an emotion trapped in your cells, or there's an energy center that has a pattern of disturbance in it, your pain is going to come back. So working holistically for me is working across those bodies, right? Like example, anxiety, right? Like there's physical things you support people with: anxiety, nutrition, your organ systems, your nervous system. Then there's the energy body. It's associated. Safety is the root chakra, the color red, the vibration, right? So releasing disturbances from the root chakra to help anxiety. The ancestral component to it. You have a little bit of fear, you get hit with the tidal wave of your ancestral fear. So to release the ancestral entanglements then makes your anxiety, right, more manageable, to be able to work from that emotional perspective, which is also associated with the first 5 years of life, right? From that emotional body perspective. And then the spiritual body, anxiety is not having enough of your life force energy contained within the system, that it frazzles. There's a whole bunch of reasons, or your soul is fractured in that way. So that's an example of how I would work anxiety holistically across all of the bodies, to really promote that lasting change. That's something I've really was important to me in training in a variety of different modalities, because I'd see these profound miracles happen at a conference, and then I'd see them at the next conference and they were back to where they were. And I thought, note to self, let's figure this out. So that holistic approach and the body matrix and working across all those different aspects of who we are, would be the holistic approach of how I would explain that.
I like that explanation a lot. And if you guys are listening and you're like, I thought I had one body, and you're starting to feel overwhelmed, right? Then so just understand that there are possibilities maybe beyond what you've been thinking before today. And I really want you to take that away, that there are a lot of ways you can feel better. I know the first time I started to hear about, well, there's an energy body, and then there's this body, and then I was like, oh my gosh, what are you talking about? Like, I'm having trouble dealing with my one body that I know about. Something I want to add to this holistic conversation, as a holistic physical therapist in my first career, the fascial system is alive. Consciousness resides in the cells of our body, in this head to toe, three-dimensional system or web of tissue. And if I treated only one part of the physical body in my client, I might be missing the whole key to their pain if I forgot to look at the ankle or the entire system, I guess is my point, right? So holistic also can be even just for the tissues, the physical body itself, but of course, mind body. So if I didn't ask that same client how they were doing, and I missed that they lost a job or lost a spouse that week, I was gonna miss a big piece of the puzzle of that healing, of that journey that I could guide, right? So I think as practitioners, holistic really is looking at that whole being in all the different ways and helping those people put the puzzle pieces together. Sometimes we need a guide to bring us to the next step that we need to look at. We are overwhelmed and we don't know what that next step is. We need help, right? But this is perfect because it gets me to this last question I would love to hear all of you answer. In, at the top of the priority of what I'm doing for people is helping them connect with their own inner wisdom and healer and intuition. You all have talked about it today already. I want to help them do that because they can access that higher frequency of vibration. It's one way that we empower our clients and students to be on this journey, right? We know as authentic healers, we don't fix anybody. We guide them, we facilitate a process. So, Scott, what's one way you can share with our listeners that might help them make that connection?
Well, for me, especially, and I can speak for most of the teachers, no matter where you are, there is always somebody else that we rely on. I had a healing yesterday myself, that no matter what level you're on, you need that extra voice, you need that coach, you need that there's always somebody. It doesn't mean high vibration doesn't mean better. It just means different, and a different perspective. And to be able to have someone to be able to see you or see things within you that you can't see, or that is around the corner, or it's in a different dimension, if you will, to be able to allow you to get better and closer to where you are. One of my aspirations is to get to the level that I'm that guru with the long beard on the mountain in the diaper, right? But just that's an example of just the highest of where we can go, but always striving to achieve that. And we all need help, no matter where we are in life. There's always to have that other voice, and it's really what I found helps with most people is just being able to be that mirror, be that guide, so that they can really focus on who and what they are. Hope that answers that.
I love it. There's healing in being witnessed, I think, is a piece of it for me. And it's nice to have the mirror, the witness. There's so many ways. There's healing in community. And I think if you feel, I'm talking directly to our viewers today, if you're feeling alone, please look at these beautiful faces that are staring at you through the Zoom today. You're not alone. This is a community of master teachers, healers, and authors who really care about you and want to help you move to that next level, right? So that's what probably the thing that I love the most about these projects is we want to give people a sense of that community. Fiona, what would be one way you would want to share for people to make that connection to their inner wisdom, their intuition?
Okay, so I teach a very simple technique, which is just when they're feeling disconnected. There's a really fast way of just tapping just below the bones here.
The collarbones?
Yeah, just below there. And just tapping, it's where the thyroid is, but also this is the higher heart. And actually, Scott, it's the color of turquoise.
Nice.
So, but just tapping the higher and physically tapping, just because we get so disconnected from our own personal inner wisdom. It's just nice to have physical reminder that you actually have inner wisdom. And just checking in with your heart. Where am I now? What's going on? What do I need to know now? What decision do I need to make now? And just bringing you back to yourself. It's a really basic, fundamental thing, bringing people back to themselves, because we're brought up with such a disconnection between head and heart. It's like we were discussing, there's this inability to speak, and it's like this separation. So just physically tapping the higher heart and just saying, okay, I can make a new decision. I can
Love it.
intuitively make a new decision to my inner wisdom.
I love it, Fiona. What do I need to know today? You know, what do I need to know? I ask that question a lot. And then you can't attach to getting an answer, you guys. Then you go to what Julie said earlier, just be. And then open yourself, right, to receiving an answer. But if you grip too tightly to that, sometimes you get in your own way again. So just relax, take the deep breath, right? But I love that one. I've been doing that one a lot lately. I've been following a little bit of Brad Yates tapping on YouTube recently. Julie, how about you for this one? What's a way you want to share that people can make that connection?
Well, I think the importance following on that being is this full presence in this moment. If we have big, anxious emotions, we're out in the future. If we have big other emotions, we're in the past located. So to gather ourselves in the present moment in a way where we get very still and very quiet. I remember when I was doing my intuitive arts training, I would go and seek guidance from my mentor. She became my mentor. I was like, you got to teach me how you do this, because the information's there. How can I access it? And I'd come in and she'd go, shh, right? And I'd go off and I'd get quiet and I'd come back and think I got to this quiet, and she'd just keep going, shh. I go, but I am quiet. So it's that stillness and that quiet. And that's where the wisdom comes from within, not externally, and really learning those voices. I think we've all had an experience where we've just known something to be true and right. Begin to calibrate. Where does that come from within you? How do you feel when you have that knowing? So that when you're in situations where you are looking for clarity, you at least have some sort of a guideline to follow, to recognize and follow that, because it builds trust, being able to trust our intuition. We have to try it out. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So calibrate the ways that it works so that you can navigate the path of when you're not clear into that place of clarity.
I love that because it helps with discerning that from other things. And when I've been in the state of knowing, you're making me realize it is not just up here that I'm thinking this thing. It is a whole body sensation. It is much lower than my brain. So, and I'm a body awareness kind of geek. It's like everything good happens down in there, right? And Fiona was saying, we kind of cut ourselves off from all the good stuff. All right, Neshla, you're going to close us out today. Tell us what you want to share about that connection.
I feel it's about learning to trust our inner wisdom as well, because we've been brought up and we all learn to use the head, don't we? And we're always thinking. It's actually not thinking and actually feeling it here, really listening to what your heart is telling you. Not comparing yourself to other people. Don't worry about what everybody else, so many people say, well, I get this and I get that, and it makes you think, well, I don't get this. Your body talks differently to you. And I feel that if you really listen to what your heart and you feel it, trust it. And the more you trust your intuition, the more you get out of it, and it's not about, asking everybody else's opinions, because they're other people's opinions. You know your own answers. It's just a case of really listening and trusting it and going with it. And then you won't regret it, because I'm sure, many people will get something intuitive come to them and they think, no, that can't be right, or I shouldn't do this because I've always done it this way. But they might find if they try a different way, it works better for them. So my simple answer is listen, feel it, and trust yourself.
Yeah, great. Perfect, simple answer. I love it. Don't compare yourselves, y'all. Your way is your unique way. So get to know your way, right? Getting to know yourself and your own connection. I love it. I love it, you guys. R. Scott Holmes, Julie Williams, Fiona Radman, and Neshla Avey, thank you so much. Authors, thank you for what you do in the world. And thank you so much for being here today.
Thanks, Laura.
So you guys, listeners, remember, you can join the whole author team. Friday, June 9th, we're going to have a book launch party, and I have the information down below for you for the Zoom. We're going to have the Energy Healers Oracle author team, lead author Angela there. That's going to be a fun day on June 9th. And if you happen to be listening to this at that date or after that date, that just means you can get over to Amazon and buy your copy of this beautiful book. Lastly, today, everyone, remember, your words change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.